Hi everyone. This is just a quick tutorial. I just want to clear a question that I've gotten um, from quite a number of people from tutorial I made on YouTube on how to draft a men's suit jacket, um, which is quite a simpler method than most method. Um, so this quickly touches how to measure the chest, which I guess I omitted. You actually need the chest measurement, especially if you want the cloth to be really fitting and you need to check to be much more accurate. Okay, but if it's not quite fitting, you might not really need to check it like that. But either ways, I'll just quickly show you how to do that. Okay, so if you notice, this is where um, what I call the belly measurement, okay, or the waist measurement, and this will be where the chest measurement will be. Okay, so what you need to do is just, you know that for a suit, right? The um for a suit, discover that it has a lapel, okay, which is folded like this way. Okay, so you really can't measure the cloth like round at the chest area, okay? But definitely you can assume like there's an imaginary fabric here, okay? So we're just kind of getting the uh, the midpoint, okay, like an imaginary midpoint. Do you understand? So basically, there's nothing here, there's nothing here. So we just rule an imaginary midpoint that goes up from the edge. So something like this. Do you understand? So you quickly just do that. So that's what I'm just doing here. Just rule an imaginary line up from here. Of course, we're gonna, this is a lapel. We're gonna roll it. Okay. So I'm just doing the dashed line. Okay, so you can see the dash line. Now, I'm going to measure 1.5. Now, if you remember when I was doing the tutorial on jacket drafting, we said this place, I left out 2.25, and that 2.25 is to account for the joining of the side panel to the front panel, and there's also a dart at the middle here on the front panel. Then we have the button lap, okay, but there's going to be a lap. Um, so there's going to be a lap here, okay. There's going to be a lap of about 3/4, okay. So 3/4 half inch for the dart, right? The dart right here, okay. 3/4 for the joining of the front panel to the side panel. Then 3/4 for this lap. That's already 2 inches. Then another 1/4 inch for um for the sewing, okay, of the facing and the front panel. Okay, so we have 2.25 inch. Actually, you can make it 2.5 to be safe, so that you don't get it short. You can still trim it before you join the side. I mean the front, the side panel and the back. Okay, usually I check it before I join the sides, just to make sure that the measurement is accurate. Okay, so you're fine. You're actually fine with 2.25. Okay, but if to be safe, you can just put it at 2.5. Then you check it just to trim it later on. But usually you can have an excess of quarter, just little errors. Usually if your joining is not that accurate. Okay. All right. So that said, now we see that I just pull this up by just get an imaginary line. Okay. Now up here, right? You don't have the usually your dart, even for the female, right? The dart starts from the under bust. I think yes, usually, okay, depending on um usually it will start from the under bust. Okay, so you have your um so you don't that means you don't account for that half inch right at the under bust. Don't account for that. So that means from your 2 and 1/4 you already have half inch gone. So you're left with 1 3/4. Okay, left with 1 3/4. Now also this lap here, right? Even though here you have 1 3/4 of a lap, you don't really have this. Well, this doesn't really will not. This is an imaginary. Well, you're assuming that there's an imaginary fabric here, okay, which will also lap by the time you pull this. So, well, I just use instead of using 3 and 3/4, I use half inch, okay, for the imaginary lap here, okay, imaginary lap. Of course, when you pull this also goes a little pull. Do you understand? So an imaginary lap. So that means again half inch. Sorry, not half. I use an imaginary lap of quarter, okay, of quarter. So that means another quarter is gone. That means you're left with 1 and 1/2, okay. So usually for this measurement, I leave out 1 and 1/2. For this chest measurement, I leave out 1 and 1/2 of an inch, okay. So I hope you get that. Just how I do it, and it's very accurate, okay. Of course, this is a suit, and you might get the truth is that you might get some little errors. Do you understand? So maybe by the time you measure the chest, maybe you want it to be 41, you might end up with maybe 41 1/4, with 30, 40 3/4, but a little error of quarter, half inch is still tolerable. Do you understand? It's still tolerable. So I mean, you are still fine. At least you have a tolerance range. Okay, so this is just how I do it, and it works pretty well. All right, so I'll just show you how I measure it now. Okay, okay, so remember the imaginary line here. Okay, so I just leave out 1 1/2 of an inch from there. Okay, so this is actually 1 1/2 of an inch I'm leaving out. Okay, so that accounts for the joining of the side, the front panel, and then the lap, which I said quarter. So that means from your 2 and 1/4 or your 2 and 1/2, you are removing 3/4. So you are left, in this case, I'm left with 1 and 1/2. Okay, so now I measure normally, I measure round, my round chest. Okay, so what I did here is to just measure from here to here. That's how I do my measurement. I measure the full, I measure fully, then I subtract half. That's for the sewing. So I had uh, I had 8 3/4 minus half, that's 8 and 1/4, right? So I place that 8 and 1/4 at that 1 and 1/2 point. Okay, so then I have for this person's measurement is chest measurement is 42. So I have my 42 there, which is quite okay. So as you can see, I had 8 3/4, right? 8 3/4, then subtract half inch. Then I have my what? I have my measurement. So basically that's how to measure your chest. Okay? That's how to measure your chest. Of course, for the female, you can get the exact points you are measuring. You have your bust, what do you call it now? Your bust length, right? Okay, so you have your bust length, you have your under bust, you have your half length, you have your and what have you for the female measurement. But usually you measure around here for the male. Okay, all right. So I hope that answers your questions Thank you very much. So that's it. 21. So that's actually measured 21. That's 2 for his chest, then half inch for sewing. All right, thank you.